welcome to the August monthly reset. This is actually my very first monthly reset, so please bear with me. We will see how this one goes. I do kind of have an agenda of things I want to accomplish in this monthly reset. The first part is going to be reviewing and recapping July. I'm gonna do a bit of journaling, and then from there, we are going to plan for August. I also want to take a little bit of time to clean and declutter. And the last thing I want to do is definitely a financial check-in. So let's dive on in. If you're new here, a couple of videos ago, I did a mid-year reset. And in that video, I created a 6-month plan to reach all my goals by the end of the year. Now, to put that 6-month plan in action, I created a little habit tracker where I wrote out all my daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and by end of year goals. I'm gonna take you to my laptop, and that's actually where I started to calculate all of the different metrics of what I've completed throughout this month. So what I've done is I took this sheet and put it all into the different life categories so that I could create like a monthly scorecard and assess how I'm doing. The way I actually calculate the percentages on here is a little bit of back of the napkin math. So I essentially just count the number of times at minimum I need to do something for a month and make that the denominator. So for example, work on YouTube for an hour per day. I gave myself a little grace here. I put 22 as the denominator because I started tracking late. I didn't start until the second week of July. And then I counted the number of times I actually filled out that daily habit up here, and it gave me 45%. Didn't do great there. I did go through and actually mark everything as 80% and above green, everything between 50 and 80% yellow, and then anything under 50% red. Those are the key areas that I definitely need to work on. Didn't do the best on my business. I think I did pretty well in like the relationship and social area. Looking at that makes me really excited because I would say one of my big goals this year was just to deepen my relationships and create community here. Even though I definitely have room to improve on my business goals, I am pretty proud of how much time I invested in being social. It's so easy to benchmark yourself against productivity, but relationships are so important in our lives too. So I'm just gonna visit all the red here. Work on YouTube for an hour per day. Only did that 50% of the time. This is end of the year. So I'm 30% towards my goal, which probably not where I wanna be, but you know, we're gonna keep going. And then work on blog 30 minutes once a week. Okay, so this one's kind of funny because I just recently picked up my blog again last week. I think I spent like 7 hours on it. Even though I only did it for 1 week, I would say I like still succeeded in that goal. Post on my blog 5 to 10 times by the end of the year. I already did one of those. Health and fitness definitely needs improvement this upcoming month. Eat 4 to 6 servings of fruit and veggies per day. I definitely have upped my intake of fruit and veggies through this process because there are some days I would literally eat 0 veggies, and now it's like, okay, I will eat maybe 2 and not hit my 4, but at least I'm starting to build that routine. Intermittent fast 5 to 7 times a week. The first week of doing this was definitely a little bit harder because there's science behind like your hunger hormone is spiked at specific points in the day in which your body expects food. So like if you eat at 9 a.m. regularly, your body will release hunger hormones to tell you that you're hungry. So it took a little bit of time for me to adjust from not eating in the mornings to eating at 12. Now that I've done it, oh my gosh, it feels so good. I genuinely feel like I'm giving my body time to reset. It just makes me feel better. So I've actually been loving it. I started doing it because I wanted to shed a few pounds, but now it just has felt great. Walk 10,000 steps 5 to 7 times a week. I have been trying to walk during work, but I have had a lot of work recently where I really need to sit down and focus. So this one has been more of a struggle for me, and I think I need to just fit it in before and after work. And then the last one, work out for at least 30 minutes, 3 to 5 times a week. Dude, I have just not been waking up. Because I keep telling myself, Sarah, I'm gonna work out right before work. That's the first thing I'm gonna do every single morning. And I am just like constantly sleeping in. It's probably also because we had gone on a trip. My sleeping schedule was messed up. That has really affected my routine to work out in the morning. And if I don't work out in the morning, I really don't work out at night. Definitely room for improvement there. And then if I look at the other ones, track my goals daily. That one should be an easy fix. Like, why am I not doing that? It's so easy to just highlight and say whether or not do it. Save $15,000 by end of year. I am at 7,100. This is where I'm at for the current month, which is okay. Do laundry twice a week, 33%. Okay, that one, I feel like it's because we were out, so I didn't do it consistently. The last one, get my RF micro needling by end of year. That's just like a do or not, and I haven't done it yet. So those are all the red. Now that I've reviewed the scorecard, I do have a few questions that I jotted down in this journal to reflect a bit deeper on how this month went. There are 4 questions I wrote down. The first one is, what actually happened this month? Document wins, happy events, and opportunities. Second one is, what life events and things sidetracked me? What were things I didn't expect? Third, what did I learn? Does this change anything? And 4, gratitude time, list out everything that I'm grateful for. So I'm gonna take a little bit of time, sit with Mr. Milo there, who is so sleepy. And then we're gonna come back, talk about all my answers, and plan for the next month. All right, I finished filling this out and decided, let's do a little change of scenery. Let's enjoy non-rainy weather when we can. Let's go through some of my reflections. For question number 1, what actually happened this month? I listed a few big wins. The first one, I already talked about this, but hung out with people more, made time for creating community. The second one was restarted on my blog. So a little bit more context here is I started my blog end of 2022, and I started it as a passion project that I was hoping would one day become my vehicle to financial freedom because I didn't want to work a 9-to-5 anymore. That was kind of my gateway to content creation. So over the past year, I've started dabbling in like short form content, other social media platforms. This year I started on YouTube, and that started to take so much of my time that I basically just started neglecting my blog. Fast forward to 2 weeks ago, I picked up this book called Millionaire Fastlane. It is kind of filled with a lot of fluff, but there is some good core concepts in there. And one of those things is, if you want to be financially free, you should build a business. That business needs to be scalable and not tied to your time. I realized that my blog was a way better mechanism to reach this path of financial freedom because it's so much more scalable. I have not touched my blog for a while, and every single month I still make affiliate income from blog posts I've had on there since last summer. Now, compared to YouTube, where I'm currently only at the stage of generating AdSense, and YouTube videos take me so much longer to write, script, plan, create, edit than a blog post, my blog is so much more scalable. I love YouTube, and I love creating content on here. But if my biggest goal is financial freedom, I need to work on the thing that I have been seeing the most ROI on and not just focus on, my passion. So that was a huge tangent, but I think I definitely covered question number 3 as well, which is, what did I learn? Did this change anything? Last things for number 1, Carrick and I took a trip to LA and Disneyland. We ate so much good food, which, if you know anything about me, that is my absolute love language. We also rode electric scooters between Santa Monica and Venice. All the good vibes. An area of opportunity is definitely health and fitness. You saw all the red on my chart. Definitely need to be better about this and need to get back into routine. That actually brings me to question number 2, which is, what life events and things sidetracked me? What were things I didn't expect? Allergies. Oh my gosh, guys, my allergies this year were so bad. I am horrendously allergic to a few types of grass. There was this one day I went outside and I was literally dripping from my nose. Dripping. I had gone through 2 packs of Kleenex. So for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks of this month, I basically could not sleep because I was so stuffy. I had migraines, couldn't focus. It was not great. Over the past 2 days, my allergies have gotten a lot better. And then I think another thing was just our LA trip. Before and after were definitely hectic. We came back on a Monday night and went straight into the work week. So it just didn't feel like we had a lot of time off. Took basically all of last week to recover. Oof. exhausting. I'm gonna skip over 3, like I said. 4 is just listing out everything I'm grateful for. I think the biggest things I put on here were just all of the people that are supporting me. So shout out to Carrick, who's my boyfriend. He listens to me rant about all my business ideas. He's always been really supportive of me chasing my dream to create content. Really, really appreciate just all of the emotional support he's given me. And then my friends and my family, so grateful that I can just be myself around them. It just feels really comforting knowing that people are cheering me on, you know? And I'm so grateful for you, for anyone that is watching this video, spending their time with me. I'm grateful for my team at work because they are so understanding of work-life balance. And then of course, I'm grateful for, you know, having a roof over my head, which I don't currently have. There's a roof over my camera right now. But yeah, just like all of the basic necessities that I think sometimes we take for granted. I love doing gratitude because I feel like it really grounds me. So much of the time, our society is just focused on go, go, go. And it's really easy to lose sight of everything that we already have. Even though I didn't reach all my goals this month, there's also so much goodness in my life that I should celebrate consistently. Because at the end of the day, being content with what we have is a mindset and will never come through, you know, material goods. That is it for the reflection. Let's go back inside because I need to get on my computer and type up what we're gonna do for the next few months. Welcome back indoors. We are sitting with my laptop and I'm gonna share my screen. So I'm looking at the goal tracking and I would say all of these will remain the same except for the business category. Given all of those learnings and reflections that I had, I need to re-delegate my time for YouTube to my time for blog. So I currently have it where I work on YouTube for an hour each day. And now I want to switch that to an hour 4 to 6 times a week. That should free up some time for me to actually focus on my blog. I'm going to keep it as post a YouTube video every 1 to 2 weeks, but I can really see myself leaning more to that every 2-week mark. But because I'm leaning more to that longer time frame, I'm introducing a new goal, which is to post a YouTube short 2 to 4 times a week. This will help me stay more active on YouTube, and shorts are just really easy for me to bang out, especially if I do them in a bundle. So I definitely don't think that goal is a tough ad, but I think it will compensate for the fact that I will be posting less on YouTube. Still gonna keep the subscriber goal. We'll see where that goes by the end of the year. Now, for blogs, I'm changing work on blog 30 minutes once a week to work on it an hour 4 to 6 times a week so that I can dedicate a lot more energy and routine on updating my blog. I've also added a new metric goal for my blog, which is to hit 10,000 page views by end of year. I think I'm currently at 2,000 views monthly, and to get into this other ad program, I need about 10,000. So that is my new benchmark. To help me do that, instead of posting just 5 to 10 times more, I want to post 20 to 50 times. That would be once or twice a week until the end of the year. Everything else I'm gonna keep the same because I think those goals are realistic. I just need to be more consistent with them. With that, I'm gonna update my habit tracker. I actually made a few different changes. First one, I grouped everything in the daily habit tracker by category. So you can see I have all content up here, then health, self-care, environment, and then personal growth. I also added in a section for to-dos, which are like big to-dos that I need to finish by the end of the month. And then I also changed for weekly. I made a grid. It used to be just a list so that every single week of the 4 weeks, I can check off whether or not I did it. So let's print this one out. I have in my hand my next month's plan, and I'm super excited to start filling her out. For today's part of the reset, we are gonna do some cleaning. Luckily, I think our house has stayed just generally better maintained because I've been trying to make it a habit to clean a little bit day by day. So I'm just gonna catch up on some of the basic chores we have, like doing laundry, and then finding some places to declutter as well as digital decluttering, because I feel like that is probably where I need the most help. So let's go. gonna do a tiny bit of closet and clothes decluttering. Now that we are halfway through summer, I know what I do and do not wear, and there's so much stuff just crowding up my drawers. So we are gonna clean this out. Okay, we have a solid amount of clothes to donate. The next space I really wanted to declutter was my phone because, oof, look how messy that is. And I also am at a point where I literally have, look at that, 45,000 photos. I think I'm gonna start with all my apps and clearing that out, and then we will get to the photos. I'm gonna just set a timer for 30 minutes and see how far I get. Carrot came home in the middle of me digitally decluttering. I was only able to declutter 291 photos and 77 videos, which is not bad considering I also reorganized this. So that's where I'm at.
Did you say it like that? Yes, I made it.
So that's where I'm at with the digital declutter, and the clothes are in the dryer. So we are gonna make dinner and then wrap up cleaning for today. Ah! So today we are doing the financial review, and I'm definitely a little bit nervous because this is the first time I've ever just broken down my expenses in detail and put it out on the internet. But I'm a huge advocate for financial transparency, breaking down the stigma of talking about money, and just developing money managing habits. So I'm gonna lay it out on the table for you all today. Welcome to the spreadsheet. I'm gonna give you a really quick rundown of how I actually made this template. So the first thing I did was I went to my bank account and pulled the raw data for all of the transactions I made in the month of July. Then I created a new column called personal category where I went through every single line item and categorized it. From there, I just highlighted all of this, made a really quick pivot table. That's how I categorized all my actual expenses for the month. Then I ported it over into this template I made to track my actual expenses to my budget month over month. The way that I have this organized is by category, variability, and then expected is the budget. What I mean by variability in this column is kind of how much that expense will typically fluctuate. For example, housing, that's typically fixed compared to something like travel where I might fluctuate really, really high on one month, or another I won't spend anything. I like having it organized by that because then I can really see where I can make a difference being over or under my budget. So if I look at July, this hurts me a little because I was $2,434 over my budget, which is substantial. The biggest culprit in this bucket was travel, which was about $1,800. $1,900, and that was spent on our trip to LA. That was such an insanely expensive trip and I did not expect that. But honestly, we only have ourselves to blame. One, we waited too long to plan that trip. Our flight from Seattle to LA was literally $400. We also went to Disney, decided to stay in Santa Monica. We ate out every single meal, also expensive. I will say though that technically my monthly budget is $300, and that's something that's not gonna change, but there are months that I don't travel. Probably would have budgeted maybe like closer to $1,000 for this trip. So I'd really see myself as like over budget $800. Still a really pricey trip. And all of the other things in this red category kind of were driven by that. Because for example, like clothes, I definitely shopped a little bit. I typically don't spend that much money on clothes. And then for makeup and toiletries, I also don't usually spend this much money, but I needed to refill some empties before I went to LA. So I did a huge Ulta and Sephora haul. And then for gifts, it was my sister and my brother-in-law's birthday months. So I bought them a joint gift card to a Michelin star restaurant, which was also expensive. And then the fees row really just reflects the annual payment I have for this card. So I think that really covers it for the really big over expenses. And then, you know, feel free to look at the other places I've spent. The last thing I will talk about on here is the savings row, which went down. Very sad. I had a goal to save $1,200 this month because I'm trying to add an additional $15,000 to my savings account. Unfortunately, because I overspent so much, in addition to not being able to save that money, I had to actually withdraw from my savings. It is a bummer because obviously I've backtracked from my goal. I will say, even though my LA trip pushed me back a little bit, we had so much fun and I don't necessarily regret spending all that money. It just means I'm gonna have to be a little bit more budget conscious over the next few months to make up for it. So that's how the month of July went. Implementing this in my monthly reset is so helpful because I need to get into a routine of just checking the areas that I'm overspending in and correcting that over the next month. So I'm excited to see how things change for August now that I'm more aware of how to improve. Okay, so that brings me to the end of the monthly reset for August. I am excited for what this month has to hold for us. Thank you so much for reviewing my goals with me and planning alongside me. I feel good and confident about being on track, or at least making some progress towards who I want to be over the next 6 months. And I hope this video brought you some ideas to do a check-in with yourself. I think it's always important to see how far we've come, celebrate our little wins, and then make any updates whenever we see fit.